You guessed it, y'all. What's up? Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday. What a day. What a night. I've been looking forward to this show. What a day in the markets. Just absolutely amazing. I'm going to get you all caught up on the most important charts, trades, some look backs from previous Trump trades, obviously from 2016 to 2020. In case you didn't know or you were living under some kind of a rock. Donald Trump was elected the 47th president last night. It was kind of a foregone conclusion. Some people thought it was going to be close, but I'm not going to get into politics here. But if you check Vegas odds, and you can always follow the money, man. If you think, you check your team's odds for the Super Bowl, you can always follow the money. And it was the same way here, much more important than pollsters. And we were talking about even last week, a lot of the market had calibrated towards the ease of a Trump government. Obviously, it's not the first time that we've seen his administration. So we'll take a look at what happened today. Regional banks, absolutely magnificent, just ridiculous move. Also, the general financial, but the regional banks really crushed it. He's going to be pretty easy on those folks in terms of asset caps. You have names of Wells Fargo up, more than 10%, JP Morgan. So all the financials really absolutely crushed it. M&A, mergers and acquisitions, very likely back next year and going forward. So financials are the place to be. Small caps absolutely ripped as they have a lot of allocation and constituents in the financial sector. The Dow Jones absolutely soared. Goldman is a major component as it's a strange dollar weighted index. So the Dow was absolutely crushed today, but nothing like the small caps. We'll take a look at that. And then on the other side, we were talking about the solar. That was the Harris trade, absolutely crushed to new 52-week lows today. You can't say that about many spots. And then gold rates absolutely ripped today. No reason really to hold gold or staples or utilities or those types of yield proxies. And bonds, like I said, the yields absolutely soared. We got the Fed tomorrow, very likely 25 basis point cut. They kind of have no choice. And the new all-time highs for, you got to take a deep breath for this, financials, Bitcoin, the S&P 500, Qs, the NASDAQ 100, industrials, equal weight, S&P, the banks, the IGV, which is the Internet Index, and XLC, which is XLC communication sector. And that was even with Meta flat to down 7 bips as they're on Trump's bad list. So a lot of strength today. This was also the data I had for the accumulation phase. Full disclosure, I did buy mega cap tech yesterday. I thought it was worth the risk, and it immediately paid off up 2.5%. So let's share the doc and let's get to the screens here. So let's see what the doc did today. So I'm not going to get into politics here, but never mind. I was trying to ask the AI to make a picture with Trump elected. And they said they wouldn't do it because, and I guess it's not fair. But yeah, he's going to have, attacking some of these tech firms. Anyways, so I guess that's supposed to be him. But looks a little bit thinner than he's ever been. But here we go. New York Stock Exchange, money flowing into it today, man. A big market day. Here is the headlines. Regional banks, small caps, and the Dow Jones soar, while solar, gold, and bonds crushed. Post-Trump election, like I said, new all-time highs for financials, Bitcoin, SPY, the NASDAQ 100, industrials, equal weight S&P, the banks, Internet Index, and the communication sector, which is heavily Meta and Google. All right, so let's get to the charts first. First, we'll go on the intraday action. It was interesting, and it was a very patriotic day, actually, into the close. I'll show you what I mean. Boopity bop. Tiring day too. I was up till watching about till 1 a.m. or so, and I just checked Vegas odds and I said it's inevitable. He's going to be declared winner, and then of course Pennsylvania got called, and that was that. So first things first. Here is the market. So just because it was such a historic day, this was yesterday. So we'll see here if you've checked the Vegas odds and such. It was very heavy, leaning towards a Trump victory. Harris basically was effectively like a 21-point underdog at some point towards 8 p.m. when East Coast polling places were closed. Regardless, so here at 7 o'clock, 7:30 p.m. We were at 579, and then this morning he got declared the winner very early, like officially by basically all the news networks, essentially at like 6-7 a.m. So we had ripped from 579. I'm rounding for simplicity's sake, 579 in SPY all the way to 587, and then we had a peak here right pre-market. Not sure if it was European selling or people obviously taking profits on such a magnificent move, but we actually traded. It was an amazing day, obviously soaring, but in terms of the volume weighted average price, we actually could not hold it until 11 a.m. And that was after the European close. And it was all green bars until the 3:30 candle, where some people, of course, did want to take some profits. We're going to take a look at why, because some of the moves were absolutely amazing. And this is, of course, as always, a leveraged market. So some of those options and those bets pay off. And so here we are after the European close, right around here, and it really had a leg underneath it. And stay long, buy something. I hope you bought something yesterday. If there's volatility tomorrow during the Fed presser when they cut 25, try to buy something. I'll tell you why specifically, or in terms of the levels. If you have a ticker, put it in the chat. A lot of things have moved today. If you're not sure, conviction about a trade, put whatever it is in. So that was the daily. Okay, so let's zoom out here because SPY did. I'm not really want to tout myself on the back here, but I had said essentially going into election day, you might get that vol crush. And very likely, I said this when the accumulation date ended on October 22nd. I said you're going to look right around election day. You're probably going to be right around 575, worst case 565. But my Thanksgiving and month-end target is 590 on SPY. Let me get that stupid box out of the way. So what happened? We got to 591 today, all in one move. We were literally trading on the 5th. Yesterday, the low was 571. And today we're 591. So trees don't grow to the sky. Even if you feel like you're Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, you're not going to be lifting, deadlifting 3,000 pounds or something. Okay, guy. So take it easy. There's definitely better conditions. All that being said, would rather be a buyer than seller, but you got to wait for your entry points. I don't know if you're going to get it right now. I would like to re-enter this market somewhere around 576 to 580. Super glad I purchased yesterday. If you're on the sidelines for some odd reason, you did get that vol crush, and we'll look at the VXX chart. But my target on S&P, even with vol expansion, is right around 593 or so. Good looking bar today. Might have some more follow through. I'm not going to chase it right here. I had a couple things on my buy list. They had ran way up. Risk reward wasn't what it was anyway. So I'm on the sidelines for that. So not much more to say in terms of this index. We'll take a look at the big caps indices because they were big movers today. But yeah, all in all, my target's about 592 or so for the next 593 for the next 2 weeks. So not a ton upside. Imagine some sideways action. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow with the Powell presser, presuming it's a 99% chance, I believe, they cut 25 bips. Perhaps he has some comments or, some job insecurity or, Trump wants to fire him and there's some volatility in the market. Not sure, but just be on the lookout tomorrow for that tomorrow afternoon. So, yeah, as I said, I would want to buy, wait for some pullbacks to about 578 and get active in this market. I think you're going to see borderline irresponsible level of buying in the next 7 weeks due to the conditions and this uncertainty is away from us. So we'll look at the winners today, look at the losers, and see how your portfolio is shaping up. All righty. So what else today? All right. So it was interesting. There's not actually, I try to keep this as diversified as possible, but of course, capturing the major moves of the market, and the regional banks were the place to be. I'm thankfully in the KBE. That absolutely soared as well. This is up 13%. So a little bit of a history lesson on this. KRE obviously was the heart of the pain with the Silicon Valley Bank explosion and everything a year ago. This has very big implications. These guys make loans for businesses and families. Usually it trades within the Bollinger Bands, right? Usually volatility is pretty represented well here, and it trades respectfully. Sometimes it goes outside. Last Christmas week, essentially, right before Christmas, we got a little bit exuberant, overbought, typical, and you got above the Bollinger Band. But other than that, not too many here. And here you get a big one. So all being said, I thought, like I said, the entire market was coming into an accumulation phase beginning on or around November 5th, 6th. Makes sense. That was probably yesterday because you're going to get that. Very likely, a victor was going to be declared today, I thought. So yesterday was the date. Just to go forward, I think that accumulation phase ends on or around November 20th for SPY around 593 range. For this has gone way up to the sky. My upper target for about 2 weeks from now is about 62 to 63. So it's at 67 essentially today. So you might have some sharp down moves in this. Who knows? For whatever reason, maybe profit taking, etc. But this was a big breakout yesterday, today, and this is a level, that 60 half level has been something it's been contending with from October. It tried to make a reach in July, and now this thing is off to the races. So pick your spots. Better entry would be 58, 59 if you were to get there on some volatility, but don't hold your breath because that was ways away from here, 7 points or like 12%. So you may have missed this one. I'd rather be a buyer than seller, but you got to pick your spots. My target 62, 63 to the upside. I'm glad I'm in December calls. I did not sell. I think it's going to be overall bullish and animal spirits in this group over the next 2 weeks. But just curb your enthusiasm. I don't think that's a lot. This thing was trading at 57 2 days ago, and to 63 for this group is just not a typical move. All right, small caps, very much so made up of financials and energy, a big comprisal of the IWM. Let's take a look. This was your leader. A couple of reasons, not really we already stated a bunch of them, but he's going to be easier on trying to influence lower interest rates and such. He's going to fire Gensler, he wants to, but not related to this. So yeah, small caps, similar to what we said about the regional banks. This one reminds me, last time was this overbought was July 16th when it had this massive run up. If you remember, it went from 201 all the way to 225 in just a week's time. Basically similar to what it's done now. This thing was trading at 218 all the way to 236. Basically what exactly I said for the KRE goes for the Russell. My target for this was 230, 231 even. Very similar what I said for the technicals for the regional banks. This was a level that this group, the small caps, have been contending with since July, and finally had a big breakout overnight with the election victory. A nice chart, the small caps, rising 200-day moving average. Like I said, this is a kind of like the craps table. You want to have many different pieces on the table, many different bets on the table. You got to be diversified. We'll look at some stuff that is going to be his enemy most likely during his tenure, during his presidency. But this is a great chart. Like I said, target's 230. The pullback on this might come down to about 222, and that would be your entry. So again, that's 14 points. You need like a 6% down move. I don't know if and when you're going to get it, but that would be the entry point. All right, and then the Dow, of course, Goldman Sachs, a major participant in this. The Dow, a very strangely constructed index due to the dollar price of the stock. Goldman's, whatever stock, hundreds of dollars. It was up about 12% today. This is going to move massively. The Dow, though, obeying its volatility, almost always closes within its volatility bands. Actually, very few instances in the entire past year when it closes outside. From just looking quickly, it looks like less than a week's worth of sessions. That includes today. So this index today was up 3.5%, second only to the small cap. So this was a place to be as well. My target for this was about 435. So it did it already. All in one day, this 3.5% surge. Don't love it here. You'd got to wait for a pullback to about 424 or 13-point reduction. Again, I don't know if you're going to get it. That's why I always, it's helpful not to try to time the market, but just be in as much as possible, especially when the trends are here. Don't stand in front of this and lay down in front of this market. You're going to get steamrolled for pennies while it's handing you dollars. So the Dow, like I said, wait for a pullback to about 424 or so, and then I like the target to about 435, 437. It's like at target here. So calm down. Might frustrate traders over the next 2 weeks. All right. And so these were the big movers. They were kind of focused today. Metals and mining was also one that was going to leave on the list. It was an honorable mention right behind here. So today, if you thought, he's going to win, what trades do you do? It was regional banks, small caps, the Dow. There's nothing else to go over. Okay. Losers, these are very much affiliated with Harris or with the huge rates move, and I'll tell you in a second why. TAN, we were looking at this last week. This is the solar. This is a huge Democrat, basically correlated play. This had been trash for much of the year. Had a little bit of surgence in June, and then not exactly. I don't want to tie this with Harris's chances or anything like that, but this is a Democratic play. A beautiful tag of the 200-day moving average. So lucky if you were able to sell that there just as recently as October 7th. On that spike, and then it just quickly fell off. You got very close here if you had her chances, November 5th, yesterday, this thing peaked at $42. The 200-day moving average, and we alluded to this last week. I said this is going to try to be magnetized and make a run towards that 200-day moving average, and it did. It got very close. It got within 1% of it, and then just like that, from the 200-day moving average, still descending, all the way to a fresh 52-week low, down 11% today. Yahtzee. Ouch. Yeah, so this one is still in distribution mode. Do not like the space. Trump is not a fan of this space, excuse me. Yeah, out of all the solar plays, obviously it's just his boy Elon. So Tesla is the one you want. Heavy representation, XLY, and you got Amazon. So if you like those tailwinds, that's a beautiful flywheel ETF to purchase. And you also have exposure to mega cap tech, a little bit of the MAGA too, as it were. But this looks awful. My target on this is about, it got its crap kicked in today. I would say probably 35.5 in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But yeah, you're going to have more sellers in this. And then the big components, First Solar, Enphase Energy, these guys are going to be Sedge, Solar Edge, are going to be closing it on new, fresh 52-week lows on themselves and have individual corporate problems. So not a great place to be for much of the solar world. All right, gold, no good today. Obviously, rates soared. Not a real reason to hold gold today. It's totally a risk on day. You don't want to own this. Digital gold / Bitcoin was where you want it to be as it pushed some new all-time highs here. Obviously, many people alluded to it. He's the Bitcoin president. If he were to win, there's going to be new all-time highs. I told you to watch Bitcoin as election day was happening, and that also, while I was checking Vegas odds, was actually informing me and confirming to me that he was going to be the winner, honestly, when it was still daylight out. And it's bizarre because the sun goes down at 3:30 in the afternoon or something here now on the East Coast. All right, so here's gold. The gold did not do well today, down 3%, a big hardy move. This is very close to support, though. This is a something that peaked the day before Halloween at 258. I'm rounding all the way, came down now to 246. I got support here at 244. I like the risk to reward. This was, like I said, a risk on day, so this was not going to have huge favor. I am long the GDX. If you do not have a position, I would get very close. I think it's not going to be in huge favor the next week or so, but if this gets to about 244, you're going to want to buy this, and I think you're going to have a nice kind of easy move towards 251. So that's what I would do over the next week. I'd wait for that 244 range. It's very close. Give it it's an ugly looking bar. Give it about a week. See if you get in around there. 251, the shorter term target of about 2 weeks or so. Ultimately this can get to 256, within a month or so. So just shy within its all-time high struck the day before Halloween. So another place that you'd want to be, not specifically today, but you're going to want to have more on that table. And then, of course, can't ignore this, literally giving you all the most important charts of the day, the stuff that moved. I'm talking 3 standard deviations, okay, which is just absolutely bonkers. So here's the TLT, absolutely got crushed. Bonds absolutely just got hammered. Rates soared again. Inverse relationship, price goes down to bonds, yields rip. People, the deficit, there's a lot of reasons why they don't, think he's going to cut the deficit and then he's going to grow his way out and the deficit will balloon. And then you're going to have significant worries about auctions and no one's going to want to buy this crap. So anyways, not a great looking chart. The 200-day moving average is starting to go lower. It looks pretty staunch resistance right up here at 93.85. TLT down 2.7% today. Like I said, this also typically lives within its bounds of the Bollinger Bands, which is volatility adjusted, of course. Very few days. Here's the Japan Nikkei crash, right? Extreme fear throughout the globe, and we close above the Bollinger Band. Today we have the opposite. Last time we closed, outside of our Bollinger Band was July 1st. So it's been a long time. And we said this before, the clock started for TLT October 17th. So I would give it about 4 to 6 weeks. Today's November 6th. I give this to about, just split the difference, call around Thanksgiving. This should recover. My expectations, I think this hopefully recovers to 93.85. Maybe that's the absolute ceiling for it. Short term, though, this might get a bump, but just to about 90, 93. I don't think it comes in in line to the 200-day moving average. So I think it gets up to here, but nasty day for bonds. All right, some more charts, no repeats. Top 3 gainers of the past 5 days. Interesting. A lot of the moves were obviously pushed from today's movement. Top 3 gainer of the past 5 days. Number 1, you guessed it, the Goliath today. Regional banks up 12% in the past 5 days. Again, I know it's up monster today. I'm doing a 5-day look back. The second one, and this is really interesting, I'm glad this was one of the leaders, is Ark stocks. And I did a back test for the absolute best performing ETFs and areas during the Trump presidency from 2016 and 2020. And you're not going to be surprised. It's a lot of mega cap tech. It was semiconductors. It was this guy with Ark. Obviously, it was a different place. Teladoc was growing. There was Zoom. We were going into the pandemic. But he was obviously, easing on, government borrowing and interest rates. So this group soared. All that being said, I do think this is a group you have to kind of own. Again, Tesla's a major holder as well. So if you don't want to buy XLY, you could buy this. She takes a lot of moonshots. It's going to be an easier corporate environment. There's going to be some M&A. So maybe that's a way she gets some exits through acquisition. But this group looks good and absolutely crushed it when he was president last time. So not that all environments are the same, but I don't know, man. If you have, the playbook and your team is not good against the run, you're going to know what to do. Okay, so for this group, I would wait for an entry. This was obviously a big rip, and this was emblematic, right? It's up 8% today. People are thinking the same thing. And some of this was Tesla's monster move up, 15, 18% where it was at the end of the day. And this is, Ark is all the way back for the first time. It's back to where it was in March. So essentially St. Patty's Day was a long time ago is where we are in Ark stocks. I think this, to give it a little bit of time, I personally may look for an entry because I'm not super long Tesla except through, mega cap tech exposure. I would potentially like to get some. I would like to get it around 47 on this name. And like I said, it's at 52. So that's, like 10-ish%. So I'd wait a little bit, but this 200-day moving average at 46.09 looks like support now on this group. I don't think I'm going to be that lucky to get that buy. About 47, 47 quarter, I'd be interested. But up here, no. The target, again, for me on this was about 50 quarter. So a little bit too rich for me. But Ark, second best leader of the past 5 days, sniffing out the potential of the Trump victory, and one of the best spaces when he was president before. And the third best gainer, again, because of today's monster move, but I'm doing a 5-day look back, is the IWM. We already looked at the chart, up 7.2%. So best 3 gainers of the past 5 days, and you did want to, lean long into this. You always want to, especially when I'm talking about the end of distribution phases. It sounds simple, but the market typically runs for 15 days. It typically takes a 15-day breather. And if the momentum is extreme one way or the other, then it can get dragged out possibly another 21 days-ish max. So it's what I found through a lot of different research. All right, top 3 losers of the past 5 days. So this is interesting. So I've been talking about, if things were really close, I thought you're going to get a vol surge on either yesterday or Monday. It didn't really happen at all. So volatility peaked on Halloween. I was talking about potentially getting to 60. My original target, I've been around 59, 58. We actually got on the button on Halloween 58. And then, my goodness, we absolutely just cratered lower. One other thing I want to add, though, is we are not at 52-week lows in VXX. There typically is. This is the short-term future, so there is a borrow component. But with all-time highs in SPY and you name it, everything under the sun, you think maybe this would also be at 52-week lows. 52-week lows here in VXX is 40 even. We're at 46 today. Do not like this group. Similar to what I said about the SPY, but inverse, that we're at the ceiling. I'd rather be a buyer than seller, but there's not a lot of meat on the bone in terms of upside. Same thing for this. Do not like the group. VXX would be a seller, but my target's right around 47, so which is actually a little bit higher from here. So really a crap out today, down 9%. Market taking a big breath of big sigh of relief. And I think it's going to do more unless Jay Powell totally says something off the wire. But they're going to cut 25 again, and I think the market's going to really be breathing a bigger sigh of relief. Like I said, unless he says something crazy in the presser. All right, so the biggest drop, the biggest loser in the past 5 days, VXX down 12.5%. Of course, much of it today. Second biggest loser, and this is interesting, silver down 8%. All right, so they're getting out of this. It's risk on. You see volatility getting melted. You see silver getting melted. This is, silver. Yes, it is a more of a risk appetite, but we're just talking about the gold as well. Down today, down 3%. This is down 4.5% today. I am not in silver. I am in the GDX. Don't love this group. I might pick up some after a bit. I think this is not in favor for about another week or so. If it drops to about 2780, which is lower Bollinger Band, I would become interested. Overall, not a bad looking chart. Hasn't bucked under the 200 moving average since March 4th. Rising 200 moving average. 52-week highs on October 22nd. Nothing to shake a stick at. Today, not a good day because it's totally risk on. Obviously, people want growth. He's going to grow his way out with it, administration and his policies. So you're not going to hold, a hard metal. It's just not the top thing on your list. So, but if this gets to 2780, I would purchase. And after that, I think you could probably have a very easy pop to 30. So that would be, nearly 10% move. So that is something I'm going to keep my eye on. And then lastly, and I have this on my buy list right here. It says buy uranium November 5th. I did not do it yesterday because it was still weak. So let's look at it. The reason why we are. So VXX is down 12% in the past 5 days. Silver down 8%. And the third biggest loser way away was uranium down 3%. There were, gold is down somewhere in that area, as well as the gold miners, silver miners. I want to keep stuff, not super correlated. So we have a really good wrap up and a good understanding of the market. So uranium, I'm still interested in it. I will likely purchase it. It did not do a ton today. It was up 1%. I mean, compared to the rest of the market, that's almost like flat. My idea is wait for this to base a little bit, but I'm happy to get this right around here at 30, and my target is 33.5. So I think this is going to spike after it's done basing. So I'm probably going to buy this tomorrow. I will check, and I'll let you guys know on Friday. But this looks good. And again, like that craps table idea, you want to have different pieces. You want to have different pieces, the different bets on different bets. Different bets on different pieces. I'm tired. It's been a long morning, night, you name it. All right, so top 3 absolute trades of the past 5 days in all absolute terms. If you were sniffing this out, if you were Nostradamus with a brokerage account, what you should have done to absolutely MF crush it is short volatility, 12.5% net in your pocket for 5 days. Long regional banks, okay? And there's a narrative to all this. Short volatility because you knew you're going to get a event certainty. And, sometime, obviously, when the election was called, long regional banks, he's going to be easy on it. And the banks did swell with him from 2016 to 2020. And then the third best one, long Ark, because rates are going to continue to go down. He's going to be easier on corporate policies. So Ark is the best, third best, up 8%. And there's lots of, if you read the tea leaves, are these going to be the trades for the next 4 years? I would stay long. Nothing. Someone was texting me after my Business Insider, interview. My targets haven't changed. It's 5,900 for the S&P for Thanksgiving. 6,000. I'll just do it in SPY terms. Here's the one here. So 590, which is basically where we are for Thanksgiving. So some chop for the next 3 weeks, potentially 595 if we're splitting hairs. And then for New Year's Eve or year end, my target is 600 for this, maybe 605 if you get really exuberant. But again, there's zig and zags. And then for May 1st, it's 650 for my estimate. And then for next New Year's Eve or next, end of 2025 is 750 for SPY. Okay, so this market I don't think is going to stop accruing and adding 2% or so net per month, depending on the index. So stay long. If you're not, get long and pick your spots. All right, that was a heck of a program. Let me see if I have any tickers in the chat. Anybody have a ticker? No. All right, and then single stocks. Yeah, there's crazy stuff. DJT was trading, NVIDIA all-time highs. It's just, it's bonkers. All right, we will have a big end-of-week recap to summarize all this. And, of course, the Fed tomorrow going to cut their 25. Let's see how the market reacts, considering we are at, borderline nosebleed levels. I told you, look out for gravity-defying type moves going into year-end. Saquon Barkley-esque hurdling over people backwards. And that's what this market, I think, is going to do. Peace.